there, Kelly Mank, Executive Director of BNI Maine. So this week I'm going to get a little personal, but I'm doing that because I'm getting tons of questions regarding this topic. And the topic is, how do you introduce or get your spouse or significant other to be comfortable with BNI or to understand BNI? And my answer is kind of twofold. I was in BNI way before Niels was. I joined in 2007. Niels didn't join until I believe 2013, 2014. So, I mean, we're talking 6 or 7 years. And there were definitely all of those times where, how much time I'm spending at my chapter, and I'm traveling this distance to go visit other chapters, and all of these after work meetings and socials. And why am I getting to know these people? Like, you just need to have business brought in the door. And, those were all of the rebuttals I was constantly getting from Niels. And P.S., he's not watching this before it goes live. So, but there was tons of rebuttals, and not necessarily negative, but just the lack of understanding. And it wasn't until probably 5 or 6 years that he had agreed to attend one of the awards ceremonies, one of the awards events with me. And I mean, there was a couple socials that he definitely went with me, but we had young children at the time. I mean, when I joined BNI, I had 4 kids under the age of 6. So you can imagine that we were busy. And so it was a while before, I was really able to get Niels to even get a view of what BNI was. But so a couple socials here and there, never a meeting. It wasn't until I was able to bring him to one of the awards events, and it like changed our world. I can promise you to this day that if I didn't bring him to that event, not only would I not be one of the executive directors of BNI, but I most likely would no longer be involved, because the defending it all the time can get a little bit tiring, actually, and kind of frustrating. So here's my suggestion. So first, the questions that I'm getting are, how do I get my spouse, or how do I get my husband or wife or my partner to understand BNI, or to understand my commitment to BNI and my commitment to these people? And a lot of that is around just exposure, right? Like, bring them to a social, even bring them to a chapter meeting. I know some chapters do like a bring your spouse day, or bring your partner day, or bring your employee day. Those are a lot of fun, and they're very intentional, because it's about getting the people around you to be comfortable understanding why you refer this group of people so often, why you trust them so much. And that's hard for people to understand. So my biggest suggestion, and I know this might sound a little crazy, do a +1 at gala. Bring them to gala. They will get it. That was the moment that Niels got it. I even took it a step further years ago. I think it might have been even our first or second gala after Niels and I became the executive directors for Maine. And I actually brought my mom and her husband to gala because I needed them to understand. They were in corporate world, and I was always talking about members getting into their companies and all sorts of things, but they didn't get it. And after they experienced gala, I remember my stepdad bringing me to the side and being like, I get it. Like, those numbers are insane, and those awards and those people, and this is incredible. This is not like something I've ever experienced. And that's the reaction you want to get from your spouse or significant other, because they'll get it. And not only is it going to help you at home or in the office, it's also going to help your members, because even though you are, with this person all the time, they have normally a different circle sometimes, or they're hearing different situations or different needs. Guess what? That just created one more person that's going to be able to give your members referrals through you. How exciting is that? So, long story short, if you're struggling with your spouse or significant other, understanding BNI. I get it. Invite them to gala. I know the theme is 80s this year. It's going to be a lot of fun. You don't have to dress up, but it's fun. But they'll understand and they'll see the why behind it. And when they start seeing the amount of business that's passed and the successes people have had, that why becomes very clear. That's all I have for you this week. I really hope to meet a lot of your spouses and significant others at Gala, and happy networking.